Hello, callers, and welcome back to Viva Barca. Welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on some interesting updates. We start with Franck Kessie, as the Barcelona misfit agent is reportedly set to meet with Inter Milan over a possible move in the January transfer window or in the summer if possible. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then secondly, talking about Brazilian prodigy Endrick, who have been a hotcake for many European elites. It has been reported that Barca fear that the Brazilian whiskey and that Xavi really wants desperately has already committed to another club. So guys, before we get right into the full story, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. According to reports in Italy, as relayed by Sport, Barcelona midfielder Franck Kessie has been offered to Inter Milan by his agent Josh Atangana, despite the latter refuting those claims recently. Kessie has been in the headlines a lot of late, having been unable to carve out a place for himself in the Barcelona setup since his arrival in the summer. Having joined as a free agent, the 25-year-old has failed to make an impression on manager Xavi's plans and has found minutes hard to come by. That, coupled with Barcelona's financial problems, have led to intense speculations over his future. Reports suggested that Kessie had been offered to Inter Milan and AC Milan in the recent past, but his agent vehemently denied those claims, stating that the midfielder was happy at Barca and was just going through a tough adaptation phase. However, despite his claims, the aforementioned report states that Josh Atangana, Kessie's agent, has indeed offered a player to Inter and is set for further meetings in the future about a possible switch in January itself. But Inter Milan have concerns about Kessie's salary, which is around 6.5 million euros per year. So any move in the winter would be possible only if his salary is reduced and part of it is covered by Barcelona. If not, Inter would be open to signing Kessie in the summer of 2023. As long as Barca give him a letter of freedom and he's available as a free agent. Indeed, if a loan agreement cannot be finalized now, Inter plan to meet Kessie's agent again in the spring to discuss a transfer in the summer of 2023. The midfielder, who is currently recovering from an injury, is set to be assessing his options, and it remains to be seen how things develop in the coming weeks. However, at the moment, despite his agent suggesting otherwise, Kessie's Barcelona future continues to be up in the air. Since his arrival from AC Milan to Barcelona, Franck Kessie have not had the best of times, and I think it is really frustrating. Franck Kessie had a very good season last time out with AC Milan, of course, helping them to win the Scudetto. He was one of the key players, one of the best midfielders in Europe. But to be honest, I never expected this kind of scenario where, Kessie will be struggling for minutes week in, week out at the Camp Nou. And that's just the reality of it. Xavi have been prioritizing his midfield trio of Busquets, Gavi, and Pedri, Frankie de Jong as well. And of course, that I've seen from, Franck Kessie, according to reports, not really happy. Even though, he's somebody who is very mature and he understands situations. And his agent some months ago tried to, calm down those tensions, saying that Franck Kessie is going through an adaptation phase, so it's not something of a big deal. But when we look at the reality of it right now, you can see that his agent really wants him to leave. Because if this report is to be believed, Franck Kessie has been offered to Inter Milan and, of course, even to his former club AC Milan. So there's still that possibility if Xavi continues to use him scarcely so far, like what he have been doing. It won't doubt me that Franck Kessie departs this club. But he still has a contract with the club, and definitely will not be an easy move, right? It won't be an easy operation. I just want to believe that Franck Kessie really wants to be at Barca and want to understand that he's trying to adapt with a style of play. But we all know that this all depends on Xavi at the end of the day. Because if Xavi continues to put him on the bench throughout, it's going to lead to more frustration and things will not be good. I think Franck Kessie is a very good midfielder, and I think he's a midfielder with a difference. He's the most unique midfielder that we have because he's more physical. Franck Kessie, he brings something different to the midfield that our players our other midfielders don't do that. So he's very important, especially in games like the Champions League, also those European games that when we meet an opponent and we need to change our tactics. I think Franck Kessie can help a lot. Looking at the games in the past, in those Champions League nightmares against Liverpool and Anfield against Roma 2018, there's some certain games that having midfielders like Franck Kessie could have just helped us because we had issues in containing the pressure, the physicality from the opponent, and I definitely think that Franck Kessie should be played more often than he has been so far because I honestly don't like the way Xavi has been using him so scarcely. I think he has a lot that he can offer to this Barcelona side, and I just wish that things should not get to that point where Franck Kessie leave Barcelona on bad terms because it's not what we all wanted, you know. So let's see how his future is going to look like if actually he will depart, but I hope he doesn't. Then moving on to the next story of discussion. Recently, Barcelona manager Xavi Hernandez admitted in an interview that he wants Palmeiras wonderkid Endrick to join the club and also revealed that he had spoken to the 16-year-old and he's calm about the move to Spotify Camp Nou. Endrick has emerged as one of the most sought-after young talents in the market, despite the fact that he will be unable to move to Europe until he turns 18. PSG, Real Madrid, and Chelsea have all made their presence known in the battle for the Brazilian Wizkid signing, while Barcelona are also in the chase as confirmed by Xavi. He said, "We have been talking to his father and also directly with the player. I explained the project we have at Barca. We want talent and he's a talent capable of making a difference," Xavi said. "He's the type of player we need. He already knows the project we have at Barcelona and we are talking. I hope he joins Barca," Xavi said. However, according to a fresh report from Mundo Deportivo, despite Xavi's efforts at convincing Endrick, Barcelona fear the 16-year-old striker has already committed his future to another club. On top of that, the Blaugrana are also not in a position to financially pulling off the operation at the moment, when PSG are offering around 50 million euros including add-ons and Real Madrid are also ready to swoop in. So the Catalan club sporting staff see Endrick signing as difficult due to not only the financial aspects, but also because of their belief that he has already given his word to another team. The report further indicates that, as things stand, all signs point towards Endrick joining Real Madrid, where he would be joining forces with fellow Brazilians Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo Goes, and Eden Militao. The teenage prodigy has a 60 million euro release clause in his contract with Palmeiras, and the Brazilian club could decide to hold out for the entire sum. So at the moment, despite Javi's keen signing Endrick, he does not look likely to arrive at Barca. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.